Commander Nathan Hayes sat in his office on Earth Station, drinking cold coffee and reading reports about trade agreements with the Andromedan Coalition. It was boring work, the kind that made his brain feel heavy. He had joined the diplomatic corps to change the galaxy, not to shuffle papers about tariff rates. The communication system on his desk beeped. Not a normal beep. A priority beep. Red light flashed on the screen. Nathan put down his coffee and activated the display. The message was simple. The Xipharian Empire wanted him. Not wanted a delegation. Not wanted a team. Wanted him, Nathan Hayes, personally. The message came from Empress Cathara herself, the most powerful being in the known galaxy. Nathan read the message 3 times. His hands felt cold. The Xipharians were not known for politeness. They were insects the size of humans, with hard shells that looked like metal and eyes that saw things no human eyes could see. They had conquered half the galaxy through pure force. They did not ask for people. They took them or destroyed them. But this message asked. It asked with the full weight of the Xipharian throne behind it. He was to report to the Xipharian royal palace in 14 days. A ship would arrive to collect him. He should bring minimal luggage and 1 security officer of his choice. No weapons. No recording devices. Complete discretion was required. Nathan closed the message and stared at the blank screen. His reflection looked back at him, confused and afraid. He called Lisa Grant immediately. Lisa was his head of security, a woman who had fought in 3 wars and never flinched when ships exploded around her. If anyone would know how to handle this, it was her. They met in the secure meeting room on the lower level of the station. Lisa read the message in silence. Her expression did not change. She was like that about everything, even the time a bomb went off in the docking bay. When she finished, she looked at Nathan. They want you alive, she said. If they wanted you dead, they would not send an invitation. That is supposed to make me feel better? It should, Lisa said. She sat back in her chair. The Xipharian queen has never summoned a human to her court. Never. I checked the records. There are reports of humans being brought to Xipharian worlds, but not like this. Not as guests of the Empress. Then why now? Why me? Lisa shook her head. That is what we need to find out. But we go. You do not refuse the Xipharian Empress. The next 2 weeks were a blur of preparation. Nathan briefed his superiors on Earth and at the United Nations. They were shocked and worried and excited all at once. Some said it was an honor. Others said it was a trap. Nobody knew the truth. Nathan packed light, as instructed. He brought 2 uniforms, some personal items, and a small data pad with basic information about human culture. He did not know what Cathara wanted, so he did not know what to prepare for. Lisa packed weapons anyway, hidden in places that were hard to find. Nathan told her not to. Lisa did it anyway. That was why he trusted her. The Xipharian ship arrived on schedule. It was not like human ships. It had no windows, no visible engines, no clear lines. It looked like a piece of black glass that had been bent into an awkward shape. When the landing ramp came down, the air felt strange, like walking through something thick. There were 4 Xipharian soldiers waiting inside. They did not speak. They gestured for Nathan and Lisa to sit in the transport area. The seats were hard and uncomfortable, designed for bodies that were not human-shaped. As the ship rose from the docking bay and began to accelerate, Nathan felt his stomach drop. He was leaving Earth. He was traveling to the heart of alien civilization. And he had no idea what would happen when he arrived. Lisa sat next to him, watching the walls of the transport. Her hand was near her weapon. Nathan appreciated that about her. She did not try to make him feel better with false words. She just prepared for bad things. The journey through space took 3 days. There was no windows, so Nathan could not see anything except the metal walls. He and Lisa were given food that was almost edible and water that tasted wrong. The Zypharians did not interact with them. They sat in the main chamber, silent and still, like statues. On the third day, the ship began to slow. The gravity changed. They were approaching Zypharia Prime, the capital world of the Zypharian Empire. The landing was smooth. The ramp descended, and Nathan saw his first view of the Zypharian royal palace. It was enormous. Crystalline structures rose into the sky, each one reflecting light in ways that made his eyes hurt. The architecture had no straight angles. Everything curved and twisted and grew upward like frozen water. The buildings were connected by bridges that looked too thin to hold anything but seemed solid and strong. The guards gestured for Nathan and Lisa to exit. The air outside was cold and smelled like metal and something else, something Nathan could not identify. The sky was orange, and two suns hung low on the horizon. They were led through a main entrance into a corridor that stretched so far Nathan could not see the end. The walls were smooth and polished. Every 100 meters, there were guards standing still, watching them pass. Nathan counted 20 guards before he stopped counting. They walked for what felt like an hour. Lisa stayed close to Nathan, her eyes moving to every shadow, every corner. This was her element, a place where danger could come from anywhere. Finally, they stopped in front of a massive door. It had no handle, no lock, no visible way to open. The guards stopped. They did not move. They did not speak. The door opened anyway. A voice came from inside, translated through some device Nathan could not see. The voice was female and calm and very certain. "Come inside. Commander Nathan Hayes. I have been waiting for you." Nathan took a breath. He stepped forward into the throne room of the Zypharian Empress. Lisa followed, her hand still close to her weapon. This was the moment that would change everything. But Nathan did not know it yet. The throne room was bigger than anything Nathan had ever seen. The ceiling stretched so high that he could barely see it. The walls glowed with soft light that seemed to come from inside the crystal itself. At the far end of the chamber, on a raised platform, sat the Zypharian Empress Cathara. She was larger than the guards. Her carapace was deep blue with patterns of gold running across it like veins. Her compound eyes were massive and black, reflecting the light like mirrors. She had 6 limbs, and 4 of them were folded carefully across her lower body. The other 2 rested on the arms of her throne. Nathan forced himself to walk forward. Lisa moved with him, one step behind, her eyes scanning everything. There were other Zypharians in the chamber. Military advisors, Nathan guessed, by the way they stood and the weapons some of them carried. A few wore what looked like formal clothes instead of armor. Scientists, maybe. Or politicians. Nathan stopped 30 meters from the throne, as far away as he could get. He bowed, the way human protocol demanded. Cathara did not move. She watched him. Nathan could feel the weight of her eyes on him, studying, analyzing, looking for something in his face and body. The silence stretched out. It became uncomfortable. Nathan wanted to speak, but knew it would be wrong to talk first. She had summoned him. She would speak when she wanted to speak. Finally, Cathara moved. She shifted in her throne, and the sound it made echoed through the chamber. When she spoke, her voice came through the translation device, but it sounded wrong on human speakers. It sounded like she was trying to match human speech patterns and not quite succeeding. "You have never met me before, Commander Hayes." "No, Empress." "I am not, but you know who I am." "Yes, you are the Empress of the Zypharian Empire. You control 17,000 worlds. Your military force is the strongest in the galaxy. That is what the facts say," Cathara said. "But facts are not why I brought you here." Nathan waited. Lisa shifted her weight slightly, staying ready for anything. I brought you here because my empire is failing, Cathara said. Not in strength. My military is as powerful as it has ever been. Not in resources. My worlds produce more than enough. But in something else. Something I do not have a word for in your language. She paused. Nathan could not read her expression. Sci-Farian faces did not work the same way human faces did. There is a threat to my empire. A species called the Venetians. Do you know this name? I have heard reports, Nathan said carefully. They were thought to be extinct. They disappeared thousands of years ago when your empire was expanding. They did not disappear, Cathara said. They hid. And now they have begun to attack my outer colonies. Not in the way an intelligent species should attack. Not with strategy. Not with the goal of conquest or resources. They attack with desperation. With rage. With patterns my military advisors cannot understand. Nathan glanced at the military officers in the chamber. They looked angry, as if they did not want him to hear this. My generals have lost 12 battles against the Venetians. 12, with superior numbers and superior weapons. The Venetians are fewer. They have less technology, but they keep winning. Do you understand, Commander? They keep winning in ways that should be impossible. I understand you need a different approach, Nathan said. Yes, Cathara said. And I believe you are the one to give it to me. One of the military advisors moved forward. He was large even for a Zypharian, with scars across his carapace. Empress, this is not wise. A human cannot lead our forces. Cathara turned her compound eyes on him. The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop. I did not ask for your opinion, Commander Vex. I have made my decision. Vex stopped talking, but his mandibles clicked together in anger. Cathara turned back to Nathan. I want you to lead a task force. Humans and Zypharians together. You will study the Venetian attacks. You will find the pattern that my advisors have missed. And you will stop them. Nathan's mouth went dry. Empress, I am not a military commander. I am a diplomat. I know what you are, Cathara said. That is exactly why I want you. Your military generals are too much like me. We think in the same ways. We understand power and strategy and the rules of war. But the Venetians do not follow these rules. You are human. You think differently. You understand desperation in ways that a Zypharian cannot. I do not understand desperation better than you, Nathan said. I just understand humans. The Venetians are not human. No, Cathara said. But they are desperate. And you have survived things that should have killed your entire species. You know what it means to have no other choice. You know what beings will do when they have nothing left to lose. Nathan wanted to refuse. He wanted to say that he could not do this, that it was impossible, that he was the wrong person. But he was standing in front of the most powerful being in the galaxy, and she was looking at him with absolute certainty. How long do I have? He asked. To complete the mission? 3 months, Cathara said. If you fail, the Venetians will destroy more colonies. More of my people will die. That is not acceptable. And if I succeed? Cathara did not answer right away. She looked at Nathan for a long time, her black eyes reflecting no light. If you succeed, she finally said, then you will have taught my empire something we have forgotten. And that will be worth more than 1,000 conquered worlds. Nathan stood in the war room, looking at maps and data he did not fully understand. Battle records floated on screens around him. Red lines showed Venetian movements. Blue lines showed Zypharian responses. The red lines moved in patterns that made no sense. Lisa stood beside him, looking at the same maps. She was better at understanding military strategy than Nathan was. Her eyes tracked the patterns, following the logic. They are protecting something, Lisa said quietly. Look, Every attack happens within 200 kilometers of this region. And every time the Xipharians move forces to stop them, the Venetians pull back and hit somewhere else. But they never move far from this area. Nathan looked at where she was pointing. She was right. All the Venetian movements stayed within a specific zone. It was like they were drawn to it, pulled back by something stronger than the desire to win. A Xipharian officer entered the war room. It was Commander Vex, the one who had questioned the Empress. He looked angrier than before, if that was possible. "You have your team," Vex said. He did not sound happy. 20 of my best soldiers and the resources you requested. But I am telling you now, human, this will fail. The Venetians are animals. They cannot be stopped through study and analysis. They can only be destroyed. Then we will try destroying them, Nathan said. But first, let me understand what we are destroying. Vex made a sound that was probably anger. He turned to leave. Then he stopped. "The Empress believes in you," he said, not looking back. "I do not know why, but she does. So I will help you, even though I think you will get more of my soldiers killed." Then he left. Over the next week, Nathan and Lisa studied everything they could find about the Venetians. They were tall, insectoid creatures with sharp teeth and claws. They had been formidable fighters thousands of years ago, before the Xipharian expansion began. Some records showed them as fierce and brutal. Other records showed them as intelligent and cultured, with art and music and philosophy. But something had changed them. Something had made them different from what history remembered. Nathan made a decision. He was going to the battle zone in person. Vex thought he was crazy. Lisa said it was dangerous. But Nathan needed to see with his own eyes what was happening. They took a small ship to the disputed territory. The sky above was gray and looked sick. The ground below was rocky and broken. There had been fighting here, lots of it. The bodies were gone, but burn marks showed where explosions had happened. They set up a temporary camp. Xipharian soldiers formed a perimeter around it, weapons ready for attack. Nathan and Lisa worked through the night, setting up communication equipment. At dawn, Nathan transmitted an open message. He identified himself as the human commander sent by the Empress. He said he wanted to talk. He said there did not need to be more fighting. Nothing happened for 6 hours. Then, as the sun was getting low, a signal came back. A Venetian wanted to meet. One representative from each side. Neutral ground, away from weapons. The message was clear and direct. Lisa wanted to refuse. It could be a trap. It probably was a trap. Nathan agreed it probably was. But he went anyway. He walked alone into the rocky area between the camps. Lisa watched from a distance, a rifle across her body. The Venetian appeared from behind a ridge. He was tall, maybe 2 meters, with a hard exoskeleton that was brown and scarred. His eyes were yellow and intelligent. He moved carefully, his forearms held away from his body to show he was not reaching for weapons. "I am Krell," the Venetian said. His voice came through a translation device. "You are the human. I am Nathan Hayes. I am here to understand why you are fighting." Krell made a sound that might have been surprise. "To survive. We fight to survive." "But you are winning against the Xipharians," Nathan said. "You could escape. You could leave this region and never fight again." "We cannot," Krell said. "This region is where our breeding colonies are. If we leave, the Xipharians will find them. They will kill everyone. The children, the elders, everyone. They have done this before, Commander Hayes. Thousands of years ago, they did this to our entire civilization." Nathan understood then. He finally understood. "You are not trying to win a war," Nathan said. "You are trying to buy time. You are trying to protect your people." "Yes," Krell said. "That is all we have ever wanted. To be left alone. To rebuild. But the Xipharians will not allow it. Nathan took a step forward. What if I could change that? What if I could offer you something else? Safe territory. A place where your people could live without fear. Where you could rebuild without hiding. Krell's yellow eyes studied Nathan carefully. Why would the Xipharian Empress agree to this? I do not know yet, Nathan said honestly. But let me try. The throne room was full of angry Xipharians. Nathan stood in front of the Empress, trying not to think about how much firepower was directed at him from different directions. He had brought Krell's proposal to Kathora 3 days ago. It had caused chaos. The military wanted to reject it immediately. They said giving territory to the Venetians was surrender. They said it was weakness. They said Nathan had betrayed the Empress and should be executed. Kathora had listened to everything without speaking. Then she had called this meeting. Explain again, Kathora said. Why I should give territory to an enemy that is trying to kill my people. Nathan took a breath. He had prepared for this. He had known it would be hard. Because the fighting will never end if you do not, Nathan said. The Venetians are not trying to conquer you. They are trying to protect their children. You cannot kill that kind of determination, Empress. You can only destroy it by offering them something better. You can only beat desperation by giving hope. Commander Vex stood up. The human speaks nonsense. We should crush the Venetians. We have the strength. We have the strength, Nathan agreed. But what will it cost? 12 battles lost. How many more will you lose? How many of your soldiers will die? And when you finally destroy the Venetians, what will you have gained? Territory that is worthless and the anger of every species in the galaxy who sees what you did to people who just wanted to live. The room was silent. Nathan continued. The humans have a saying. We are strong, not because we can destroy, but because we can choose not to. We are powerful not because we conquer, but because we offer peace. That is something the Xipharians have forgotten. Kathora stood. All the other Xipharians stood immediately. She was moving, and they had to show respect. What do you propose? She asked Nathan. Give the Venetians a territory. 10,000 kilometers of land that has no strategic value. Let them build their civilization there. Make a treaty that says neither side will attack the other. Let them live. And if they attack, then you have the moral authority to destroy them, Nathan said. But they will not attack. Krell just wants his people safe. Kathora moved down from her platform. She walked past her advisors, past the military commanders, directly to Nathan. She was much larger than him. He had to look up to see her face. You think I'm like your species, Kathora said. You think I became Empress because I conquered. You think I have forgotten mercy. I think, Nathan said, you became Empress because you are strong. Real strength is showing mercy when you have the power to destroy. Kathora was silent for a long time. Then she turned to face all the Xipharians in the room. We will offer the Venetians a territory, she said. We will make a peace treaty. And any commander who violates this treaty will answer to me personally. The room exploded. Military officers shouted in protest. Politicians argued. But Kathora raised one of her upper limbs, and everything stopped. This is not a discussion, she said. This is a command. Then she turned back to Nathan. There is one more thing. Yes, Empress? I want you to stay here. As my permanent diplomatic advisor, I want you to teach my people what you have taught me today. That there is strength in understanding. That there is power in offering hope instead of just offering destruction. Will you do this? Nathan thought about Earth. He thought about his apartment and the cold coffee he drank and the boring trade reports. He thought about Lisa, standing beside him waiting to see what he would choose. Yes, Nathan said. I will stay. 3 months later, Nathan stood on the palace balcony watching the two suns set. The Venetian Treaty had been signed. The territory had been given. The breeding colonies were starting to move from their hidden places into the open. Lisa came to stand beside him. She was staying on Zafaria too. She said someone needed to make sure Nathan did not get killed by his own optimism. The first Venetian civilian settlement is being established, Lisa said. 5,000 individuals. Children running around. They looked happy, Nathan. They actually looked happy. Nathan nodded. This was the moment that made everything worth it. Not the political victory, not the treaty, but the simple fact that creatures who had been hiding in fear for thousands of years could now stand in the sun without being hunted. Cathara summoned him the next day. When Nathan entered her private chamber, she was alone. No advisors, no guards. Just the Empress of the Zypharian Empire sitting quietly, looking at a window that showed the stars. "Do you know why I chose you?" Cathara asked. "No," Nathan said. "I have wondered." "Because my empire stopped growing," Cathara said. "Not in size. We grew larger every year. But in understanding, we stopped. We conquered worlds. We dominated species. We built an empire so powerful that nothing could challenge us. But we never learned to build something that would last beyond force." She turned to look at Nathan. "I became Empress 100 years ago. I was young, even for a Zypharian. My advisors told me that strength came from absolute power. And I believed them. I have spent a century proving them right. I have conquered everything in my path." "But you are unhappy," Nathan said. "Yes," Cathara said. "I am very unhappy. And then you came. You showed me something I had forgotten. That the strongest empires are not built on fear. They are built on trust. On alliances that people choose because they want to, not because they have to." Nathan did not know what to say. "Your species is young," Cathara said. "You have been in space for only 200 years. You should not have lasted this long. Every other young species has been conquered or destroyed. But you survived. Do you know why? Because we are lucky? Because you understand something in your bones that takes most species millennia to learn. You understand that survival is not about being the strongest. It is about understanding others, about making alliances, about choosing compassion when you could choose violence." Cathara stood and walked to the window. "I want your people to teach mine this. I want humans in my government, in my military, in my schools. I want my children to learn that there is more than one way to be strong. They will fight you," Nathan said. "Many Zypharians will not want this change." "I know," Cathara said, "but I am the Empress. And I have learned from you that the greatest power is not the power to dominate. It is the power to inspire change. It is the power to show others a better way." Over the next year, more humans came to Zypharia. Scientists and teachers and diplomats. They worked with Zypharians, sharing knowledge, building relationships. Some Zypharians accepted this. Others fought it. But slowly, the culture began to change. The Venetian territories flourished. Trade routes were established. Shared research programs began. Species that had been mortal enemies 5 months ago were now working together on problems that affected them both. Nathan walked through the palace one day and saw a Zypharian young one, not yet full grown, studying with a human teacher. The young one was learning about human history, about how humans had survived against impossible odds, about how humans had learned to build communities instead of just conquering them. This was what Cathara had wanted. Not conquest, not domination, but the chance for species to learn from each other and grow stronger together. That night, Nathan stood again on the palace balcony. The two suns were setting, painting the sky in colors that Earth's single sun never could. Lisa was away on a diplomatic mission to another world. Other humans were spread throughout the Xipharian Empire now. Building a bridge between species, Nathan thought about how life changes. He had arrived on Xipharia as a diplomat, someone who knew how to use words to solve problems. He was leaving as something else. Not a general, not a politician, something better. Someone who had helped teach an entire civilization that strength was not the same as power. That the mightiest empires were not built through force, but through understanding. The stars were beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Nathan knew that Earth was out there, somewhere in the distance. He would go back someday, maybe. He would tell Earth's leaders what he had learned. That humanity's real gift to the galaxy was not weapons or technology. It was the ability to understand desperation, to offer hope, and to see the possibility for peace, even when conflict seemed impossible. Behind him, Kathara entered the balcony quietly. She stood beside Nathan, looking at the same stars. "Are you happy here?" she asked. "Yes," Nathan said. "I think I am." "Good," Kathara said, "because the galaxy is going to need you. There are many other conflicts waiting to be solved. Many other species that do not yet understand what you have taught me. Your work is only beginning." Nathan looked at the Empress, then back at the stars. She was right. There was so much more to do. So many more species that could learn that the path to peace was not through weapons, but through understanding. He smiled. This was what he had always wanted. Not to shuffle papers about trade agreements. Not to attend boring diplomatic functions. But to change the galaxy. To show everyone that peace was possible. To live.